There was a young man, a boy in fact, by the name of Elihu. One night Elihu lay down to sleep, and as he slept he dreamt. He dreamt that he was walking down the pathway towards the synagogue, and when he entered the synagogue, there in front of the ark lay a shawl and a shofar. But then he noticed that coming towards him was a man, but a rather unearthly figure. In fact, he was wearing a shroud, the covering of a deceased being. But somehow, in his dream, Elihu was unafraid. And then the man spoke to him and said, Elihu, Elihu, you must help us. We are 48 souls who were murdered by the Cossacks many years ago. And our souls are adrift. You are the only one who can help us. How can I help? Said Elihu in his dream. And the man in the shroud said, Elihu, take the shawl and the shofar and come to the burial ground and blow the shofar. Now, even in his dream, Elihu dared not to take the shawl of belonging obviously to the rabbi, and the shofar. He'd never sounded a shofar. But just at that moment, he woke up, and realizing that it was just a dream, he was very relieved. But throughout the day, he kept seeing the sad face of the man who had presented himself in the dream. His face was before Elihu all the moments of his day. And that night, again, he dreamt. And this time, when he entered the synagogue, there was a figure, the figure of a woman. Of course, a woman standing in front of the ark. This was unknown. But again, this shrouded being spoke to Elihu. Elihu, help us. You must help us. And Elihu responded, but I'm only 12 years old. I've never even worn a shawl. The woman said, if you do not come before the eve of the coming festival day, our souls will be lost. When Elihu awoke, the dream remained with him, as did the sadness on the face of the woman. That night, the eve of the great festival, Elihu slept again, and this time, when he entered the synagogue was filled. 24 women sat on one side and 24 men on the other, all wearing the shrouds of the dead. And as he stood there, a soft wail emanated from these souls and seem to enter into Elihu and bring about such a state of sadness that even in his dream a great strength entered into him, and in that instant he awoke. And as he awoke, he jumped up out of his bed, fear leaving him, trepidation gone, and he raced as quickly as he could down the path of the synagogue. And there, in front of the ark, lay the shawl and the shofar, and with only just a second's hesitation, he took up the shawl and put it around his shoulders, and taking the shofar, he set off down the path towards the burial ground. Now there was no fear in his heart, only the thought, "Oh, please God, do not let me be too late." And when he entered the cemetery, the shawl around his shoulders, he placed the shofar to his lips. And at first the sound was hollow, but then it gained the strength of his breath, his purpose, and a strident sound blew out from the ram's horn, loud and clear. And then the notes that followed were almost like a trill, the sound of a bird. And just then, Elihu felt a great wind, a wind that swirled around him as though he were being caressed and hugged and embraced. And then the wind and the sound disappeared. By this time the dawn had awoken, and Elihu remembered that this was the eve of the festival day, and he had around his shoulders the shawl of the rabbi. He raced as quickly as he could back to the synagogue, and when he entered, there was a single man sitting. When the man turned around, Elihu saw that it was indeed the rabbi himself, without his shawl, and Elihu was very afraid. Oh, how dare he, how dare he wear the shawl, he, a boy? The rabbi's shawl. What would the rabbi say and do? But the rabbi approached Elihu, placed his arms around him, and said, "Well done. You were chosen for this task. Only you could have fulfilled that which was asked of you." What arises out of this story for you? Knowing that each of us have had a calling of purpose in our hearts, whatever that purpose might be, to fulfill some mandate, to become a healer, a savior of some kind, or even to find enlightenment or seek God. All of us have had in our hearts a calling of one kind or another. But what is it about this story? The immediacy of our dreams. That which arises spontaneously in the moments for us, which calls us, and which, even though we have fears and trepidations, now, in this place we're at, must be answered, must be fulfilled. Something is greater than our fear. The immediacy of who and what we are, and that which we are called to do, is greater than any trepidation or fear that we might have had. What is it about this story for you? When I went into the presence of the Divine Mother in Hawaii, I knew that I was in the presence of God. Whatever God was, she was it. There was no doubt in my heart or my mind. In the years that I was with her, if she had have told me to go and jump off a cliff, I would have done so without any question, because I loved her with all of my heart and with all of my soul. But then she wasn't there anymore. There was no Divine Mother. There was no one to make that request of me. And with its absence, there also was nothing to love. There was no protection of any kind to anything that could represent something to be loved, an object of adoration. And so without that object of adoration, there was nothing that could say, go and jump off that cliff, which could be obeyed. But now, in life, there is no question, even though there is no Divine Mother. There is nothing out there that makes that request. And yet, somehow, out of that experience has arisen this ability, if it might be called, to do exactly, without question, what arises to be done. What is this? Where is this place that we arrive at? We don't always have a spirit coming to us in a dream, but sometimes we do. But it's always immediacy. Is it this way for you? What does this story mean for us? Do we, like Eliyahu, make some excuses? I'm only 12 years old, I've never worn a shawl. I couldn't do this. Or is it that in the doing, what is there is exactly what's needed to fulfill the task? What is it?